I'm here to talk to you about a project called NIIFTY. It's data reliability for the cultural heritage sector using IPFS. So I'm from a company in the UK, we're a creative agency called Mnemoscene. We specialize in storytelling with online digital collections. So this is on the right, you can see a project we worked on recently for the Grace Darling Museum in Northumberland, where we created a unity scene of using kind of architectural drawings of her Grace Darling's childhood home to construct the lighthouse in Unity, and then the camera kind of weaves its way through the lighthouse and tells the story of Grace Darling. It was installed in the museum as a 3-screen kind of immersive video installation. So another project we've been working on a lot over the last few years now is Exhibit.so. So this is a set of it's an easy-to-use tool for promoting engagement and learning with your online digital collections. And it was originally built for the University of St Andrews, but now it's in use by the British Library and many other institutions around the world. It's quite popular with curators, and we're setting up instances of it at different organizations. So it's basically a storytelling tool where you can create scrolly-telling stories, slideshows, quizzes, etc. So here's an example of a story about Jane Austen. So it's a scrolly-telling story. So as you scroll, this isn't the video. I'm just going to click through. So that's the kind of landing screen. And as you scroll, it's loading up high-resolution images as you go. This is, I think, from the Library of Congress, as it tells you something about the image on the left-hand side. And as you keep scrolling, it moves around the image. It's telling you about how her signature here, other facts about Jane Austen. And it also supports 3D, so we've got a scan of her writing desk from the British Library in there. So it's kind of, as you scroll, it's moving around this object, telling you about it. So the standard it's using is called IIIF. This stands for International Image Interoperability Framework. This has been around a long time now, about 10 years. I've been working with it since it sort of came out, I guess. And it's kind of a family of web standards, primarily for working with high-resolution images, tiled images. So here's a great example of what you can do with it. This is a Japanese tax map with the guy, Wayne, who digitized it from Stanford to show scale. And then overlaid at the top, you can see a IIIF viewer that's loading up this, 8-meter, whatever it is, tax map. And you can zoom right in on the individual houses. So IIIF is used by hundreds of cultural heritage institutions worldwide, all the big ones, basically. And this is the image API. So what IIIF kind of innovated is using URLs to define tiles within images or regions of images. So you can see here it's taking the original image and then it's addressing a region of it and then it's scaling it. And you can also optionally rotate and get at different levels of quality as well. There's also the presentation API. So this is a JSON format that allows you to present your high-resolution images in kind of book format, so kind of a recto verso kind of layout. It also works with manuscripts and other types of content. And it relies on, it's JSON LD, so it relies on URLs as identifiers. And you can see one highlighted there as an example. This is a viewer I work on called the Universal Viewer, and that just shows an example of the kind of book layout that you can use. And you can also search and do other things. So the problem with IIIF, though, is it can often change or become unavailable. And this can cause tools like Exhibit to break. So on the right there, we've got a kind of screenshot of someone's error page. As I maintain the Exhibit website, I've had to update the showcase several times now because data has gone down or changed. And it's, the official line on this in the community is that this shouldn't happen, but in practice it does happen, and it happens regularly. So is it possible to say this can't happen? So I've been a big fan of IPFS pretty much since it came out. It's got really interesting properties, immutability, so addressing something by its content hash, and it's kind of verifiable in that regard. It's also just distributed, so content can be pinned in multiple locations. So when you request something, you're definitely getting back the thing you asked for, and if it's not on the server or on a server, it could be on another server elsewhere. So this is quite a nice solution potentially for the Exhibit problem. So I made a prototype to test publishing IIIF data on IPFS. I think this is the first time anyone has done this. So this is I just used a photograph I took in Barcelona, and I generated the tiles and the manifest, and then I added it to IPFS, and then I also minted an NFT of it because you can do that when you've got a content ID. You can view the example there. So that was the first step. But then, as a developer, I can do that, but I want my clients to be able to do that. I want to make it a drag and drop kind of experience. So I applied for a Filecoin dev grant for what I ended up calling NIIIFTY. And this is going to use web3.storage on the back end to kind of store the generated image tiles, etc. And you can read about the grant there. So yeah, once that's kind of complete, people will be able to kind of store their IIIF data on IPFS. It will be kind of distributed potentially by allowing cultural heritage institutions to pin it on their own nodes as well. But also there's this kind of secondary aspect of it's kind of mintable. So I'm interested to kind of dive into that a bit more and use NFTs as kind of canonical identifiers for this kind of cultural heritage content. And that's it. Please.